I thought the camera would capture our love. Instead, it caught her hiding her wedding ring. That was the moment I stopped being a husband and started becoming a ghost in my own home. I always thought the camera never lied, until it told me the truth I wasn't ready to see. 15 years married. That's supposed to mean something, right? We booked this anniversary photo shoot a month in advance. Rachel wanted vineyard scenery, soft lighting, matching colors. The whole deal. I just wanted one good picture. One honest frame that said, "We made it." But that's not what the camera gave me. The photographer kept telling us to lean in, to hold hands. I tried. I really did. But Rachel's body stayed stiff like she had bricks in her spine. I chalked it up to nerves, maybe a long day, but deep down I felt it. That distance wasn't physical. It was something colder, older, familiar. When we got the proofs back, I sat at the kitchen table flipping through them while Rachel was upstairs in the shower. There was one shot the photographer called intimate. I stared at it for maybe 10 full minutes. Rachel had her left hand over her right one, the one that usually wears the ring. Only, she wasn't holding mine. She was hiding the ring. I zoomed in like that would change it. Maybe I was seeing things. Maybe the light was weird. But no. Her fingers curved like a cover, not a clasp. Something broke in me right then. Not loudly. Not dramatically. Quiet, like glass slipping off the edge of a counter and landing in a towel. Clean, unnoticed by everyone but me. After that, I started watching her. I used to love how she sang along in the car to our wedding song, "I Won't Give Up" by Jason Mraz. That stopped. Now she'd just stare out the window or pick at her nails. She used to kick off her shoes and talk about her day when she walked through the door. Lately, she heads straight to the shower. Every single day. Like she needs to wash something off. And then there were the 3:17 a.m. bathroom trips. I know the time because the first time I heard her whisper, I checked the clock. "Not tonight," she said. Voice low, soft, apologetic. I laid there with my eyes open, frozen. You tell yourself maybe it's a dream. Maybe she's talking to herself. Maybe it's not what you think. But you know. The next day I started looking. Nothing aggressive, no hacking emails or GPS trackers. Just quiet observation. That's how I found the second phone. It was charging behind her knitting basket. The one she always left under the bay window but hadn't touched in months. My stomach turned when I saw the lock screen light up with a message. PT session. Can't wait for deep tissue tomorrow, winking face. I picked it up. No passcode. Just a string of messages that read like a slow burn romance novel between her and someone labeled PT session. They weren't just about workouts. Remember what you promised if I beat my mile time. Missed seeing you today. Tomorrow can't come soon enough. I didn't get angry. I didn't scream. I didn't even cry. I just sat there staring at the phone like it was an alien object in my house. It was strange how betrayal doesn't explode. It just clicks. Like a lock you didn't know was on suddenly turning open. I told myself I needed to know more. I couldn't confront her yet. I wasn't ready. But I would be. Next time she said she had physical therapy, I followed her. And what I saw, I wish I could unsee it. She said her hamstring was acting up again. That she had a PT session after work and would be home a little late. I smiled, nodded, kissed her cheek, told her to take her time. Then I waited 5 minutes after she left and followed her. It wasn't hard. She didn't even notice me trailing a few cars back in our old Subaru, the one with the bad left blinker. I kept the radio off, hands tight on the wheel. My pulse was calm, too calm. Like my body had decided to process the pain later. First, it needed the truth. She pulled into a strip mall on the edge of town. Not a medical building, not a rehab center. A fitness studio. Looked more like a boutique gym than a therapy spot. Big windows. Mood lighting. Fake plants by the entrance. I parked down the block and walked over like I had business there too. And through that big glass pane I saw him. Tall. Fit. Younger. Tanned in a way that wasn't just from sun, it was youth. The kind that doesn't creak when it stands up too fast. Jason. That's what the text had said. And there he was, hands on her lower back, guiding her through some sort of stretch that didn't look medically necessary. She was laughing. That laugh she used to give me when we were newlyweds. The kind that made other people jealous. And he was wearing something that punched the air right out of my lungs. My college sweatshirt. Navy blue, faded lettering. Middleton State Track and Field. It went missing last month when Rachel said she was donating old clothes. I hadn't thought much of it. We were decluttering. Guess we decluttered right into her boyfriend's arms. I backed away from the window like it burned. Got into my car. Sat there for 20 minutes with the engine running, not moving. Just staring at the dashboard, trying to decide if this was the moment my marriage died or if that had already happened months ago and I was just now attending the funeral. When she got home that night, she kissed my forehead like everything was normal. Said traffic was bad. Asked if I'd started dinner. I smiled. Told her I was thinking of opening that Pinot Noir we'd been saving for our 20th anniversary. She paused. That's 5 years away. Yeah, I said, but you never know what might change before then. She didn't ask questions. She just nodded and went upstairs to shower. Like always. That night, I poured 2 glasses of wine. She came downstairs in her robe, surprised to see me waiting. I slid her the glass. Tell me about Jason, I said. Her face didn't crumble. It just fell. Like she'd been holding up a mask so long it finally slipped. She stared at me. How long have you? I cut her off. Wrong question. The real one is how long you have. And that's when the dam burst. Not anger. Not defiance. Just numbers. 11 months. 3 times a week. Our bed. Our vacation rental. My father's lake house. Each word scraped something off my bones. And when I thought she was done, she added the part that really gutted me. I didn't mean for it to happen, she whispered. I was just so lonely after Mia left for college. And Jason, he reminds me of how you used to be. Used to be. That phrase hung in the air like a death sentence. She drained her glass and started crying. And I sat there, still and quiet, watching the person I built a life with dissolve into someone I didn't know anymore. She cried like someone who finally got caught holding her breath. I watched the tears roll down her cheeks, but I didn't hand her a tissue. I didn't reach for her hand. I just sat there, letting her drown in her own honesty. It wasn't the cheating that hit hardest. It was the clarity. See, when someone confesses, they're not just telling you what they did. They're showing you who they really are and maybe who they've been all along. I wasn't looking at my wife that night. I was looking at a stranger who wore her face. She looked up at me, eyes red and raw. I didn't want it to go this far. I tilted my head. So how far did you want it to go? That shut her up. Silence filled the room like smoke. Thick. Suffocating. I took another sip of wine and leaned back in the chair we bought together during a weekend trip to Asheville when we were still trying. You know what hurts the most? I said finally. It's not Jason. Not even the places you took him. It's that you were hiding in plain sight. Covering your ring during our photo shoot? That wasn't an accident. She opened her mouth, but I raised a hand. Don't give me some poetic line about confusion or loneliness. We've both been lonely, Rachel. The difference is I stayed. She looked down, twisting the stem of her wine glass. I miss us, she mumbled. Then why'd you replace me? She didn't answer. You think when this moment comes, when the truth finally spills out, it'll bring closure. It doesn't. It just opens new wounds. Like realizing the fire that burned your house down was started by someone you trusted with the matches. She kept whispering apologies, like saying it enough times would erase the facts. 11 months. 3 times a week. Our bed. Our bed. I felt like I could see the ghosts of those moments sitting on the couch beside me, smirking. Finally, she asked it. What do we do now? I let that question sit between us. Let it echo off the walls of the life we built together. I'm not divorcing you, I said. Her eyes widened. You're not. I shook my head. Not yet. Hope lit up in her face like a sparkler. So you still want to try? No, I said, standing up. I just want you to feel what it's like to be betrayed, slowly. She didn't understand it then. But she would. Because what came next? That was when I started my part. I didn't yell. I didn't beg. I didn't pack a bag or call a lawyer. That's what she expected. Maybe even what she hoped for, something dramatic to justify the mess she'd made. But see, when someone plays you for a fool, the smartest move isn't to flip the board. It's to study the game. The very next day, I kissed her goodbye like nothing happened. Made her breakfast. Told her to have a great session with Jason. She flinched. Just a little. Enough to tell me the name still burned when it came from my mouth. I'm switching to a different therapist, she mumbled. Too awkward now. Probably for the best, I said, sipping my coffee. You wouldn't want to pull a hamstring in the wrong direction. She didn't laugh. She didn't know it yet. but her world was already starting to unravel. I spent the next week quietly collecting information. Not dramatic, just small, sharp steps. Found Jason's full name from a wellness email they'd sent her months ago that she never unsubscribed from. Clicked through the studio's client testimonials. There he was, grinning next to some lady in yoga pants, giving trainer tips about posture and hydration. His work email was listed under his private training profile. Rookie mistake. I started small. Signed him up for every spammy subscription I could think of. Gourmet cat food. Free Bible study. Pre-approval offers from 7 different credit cards. He started getting promotional materials for senior living communities and a catalog of mail-order urns. Then I found his client list on LinkedIn. Forwarded it to one of the local gyms I knew he hated, his biggest competitor according to Rachel. Told them I was a concerned client who didn't appreciate Jason moonlighting under the table and possibly mishandling client data. I made sure to include screenshots of his texts to Rachel, too. The kind that hinted at progress photos. Let them assume what they wanted. Then came the photo. Back in year 5 of our marriage, Rachel's parents had gifted us this beautiful anniversary photo frame. Custom engraving, our names carved under a silver tree. It sat in our hallway, near the stairs, untouched since the day we put it there. I took the original photo out. Printed the one from her last session with Jason. The one I snapped from my car through the gym window. I cropped it just right. Her laughing, him leaning a little too close, his hand on her hip. Framed it. Wrapped it up in brown paper. Addressed it to her parents. No note. Just the image. Let them fill in the blanks. When I came home that night, Rachel was humming in the kitchen. Chicken sizzling. A playlist we made together playing in the background. Thought I'd make your favorite tonight, she said, smiling. I smiled back. Appreciate it. Really. She didn't know it yet, but Jason had already started losing clients. By the weekend, I'd hear from a friend of a friend who worked in HR at his gym. Something weird going on with that guy, she said. Some explicit images leaked. Management's freaking out. I didn't say a word, just raised my glass to toast. To 15 years, I said. Rachel smiled, almost shy. To 15. She clinked her glass against mine. And that was the moment I knew. She hadn't figured out anything yet. But she would. They say revenge doesn't fix the pain. Maybe they're right. But it sure quieted the storm inside me. It started with silence. Jason's name disappeared from Rachel's vocabulary completely. No more PT sessions. No more stretching appointments. Just vague mentions of starting yoga or trying a different studio closer to home. I nodded, smiled, let her live in the illusion. She still hadn't figured out I knew more than she confessed. That I didn't stop at Jason reminds me of how you used to be. That I wasn't just hurt. I was wide awake now. Alert in a way I hadn't been in years. And then the call came. Saturday morning. Rachel was out grocery shopping. I was fixing the front porch light when my buddy Mark called. You hear about that trainer? Jason something? Big scandal at that gym by the wine bar. My stomach tightened. No. What happened? Someone leaked a bunch of, let's just say, not safe for work pictures of clients. Whole folder of progress shots. Some were topless, man. Real lawsuits about to happen type stuff. Rumor is it's connected to a jealous ex or something. Either way, they fired him. Wiped his profile clean. I just said, damn, that's wild. Hung up and sat back on the porch steps, watching the wind dance through the trees. One down. I didn't gloat. That's not what this was about. This was about balance. Rachel came home that afternoon like nothing had changed. Unloaded groceries. Asked me to open the pickle jar. Kissed me on the cheek. She didn't know her boyfriend was jobless. She didn't know her mother called me. Did you send us something? Her mom asked, voice tight and trembling. Depends, I said. What did you get? She didn't respond. Just said, Rachel's father is very upset. I bet he is. That picture sat in their hallway now, I imagined. Maybe beside that photo of our wedding day. I wondered how long it would take before they called Rachel. Before the questions started. That evening, Rachel came downstairs with her phone. You been messing with my apps? she asked casually. I looked up from my book. What do you mean? Like, I keep getting weird ads. Cat food. Retirement homes. Free caskets. Maybe the algorithm thinks you're preparing for the next stage of life. She chuckled. Must be. Still clueless. I wanted her to see it coming. I wanted the guilt to marinate. Let her wonder if her world was tilting or if she was just slipping. And then came the second crack. Her mom stopped answering her calls. First one. Then two. Then four. Rachel got quiet. Started checking her texts in the kitchen, pacing. Said things like, that's weird. I just talked to her yesterday. I didn't offer suggestions. Just kept making dinner, folding laundry, staying late at work, being the version of me she claimed she missed. That week, I noticed something odd. She started trying again. Packing my lunch like she used to. Leaving sticky notes on the bathroom mirror, good luck today, or proud of you. Almost like she knew something was unraveling but couldn't figure out what thread had been pulled. One night, I caught her sitting on the edge of the bed, staring at her wedding ring. She didn't see me in the doorway. She slowly slid it off. Stared at it. Then slid it back on. I didn't say a word. Just backed out of the room, letting her sit in whatever space she'd created for herself between regret and reality. I wasn't going to rush her toward the truth. I was going to let her find it one crack at a time. You ever watch someone try to keep it all together while the walls close in? It's a strange thing. Like watching a dam leak in slow motion, hairline fractures, little drops escaping, and everyone around pretending it's not about to burst. That's what Rachel looked like now. She started cleaning the house obsessively. Reorganizing the pantry. Recolor coordinating the closet. Talking about repainting the bathroom like that would somehow scrub away the guilt. She'd stay up late, sitting on the couch with her laptop, headphones in, pretending to watch decorating videos, but her eyes weren't focused. Her fingers kept fiddling with the hem of her sweater over and over like a nervous tick. I'd see her flinch at every phone notification. She thought I didn't notice. But I did. And I was patient. One night, I came home to find her crying softly at the kitchen table. A wine glass in front of her empty. Her phone face down. She didn't look up when I walked in. Just whispered. Mom won't talk to me. I pulled out the chair opposite hers. Sat down. Quiet. Calm. She said I disappointed them, Rachel added. That they trusted me. I didn't ask what she was talking about. I didn't need to. They think I cheated on you, she said, voice cracking. They think I ruined everything. I just looked at her, steady. Did you tell them the truth? She looked up at me, tears welling. What good would that do now? I let her sit with that. The next morning, she was up early. Cooked pancakes. Wore perfume. Played soft music in the background like we were living in a Hallmark movie. I was thinking, she said, maybe we could go to the lake house this weekend. Just the two of us. Our lake house. My father's place. The one she'd taken Jason to. It was like she was trying to hit rewind with the remote smashed to pieces. Sure, I said, sipping my coffee. Sounds peaceful. She smiled. Relief spilling into her features like a child who just got away with breaking the vase. That weekend, we drove up. I let her take the lead, packing sandwiches, picking playlists, pretending everything was normal. But as we pulled into the gravel driveway, I could see it in her eyes. The memory hit her like a ghost in the passenger seat. I watched her freeze when she opened the front door. Her breath caught. She stared at the living room like it might speak. She walked slowly like she was tiptoeing through landmines made of her own choices. She stood in the hallway for a full minute. Everything okay? I asked from behind. Yeah, she lied. Just weird being back. I bet. That night, we sat by the fire pit. I handed her another glass of wine, just like that night at home. Except this time, the air wasn't forgiving. It was thick with everything unsaid. She finally spoke. I think about him, she whispered. Sometimes. I nodded. And it makes me hate myself. I didn't say anything. Just let the words float there. Let them burn a little. She turned to me, eyes pleading. But I never stopped loving you. That's the thing with betrayal. It doesn't care about love. It just asks, who were you when I needed you most? And Rachel? She wasn't with me. She was busy covering her ring. The thing about guilt is it's loud in quiet places. At the lake house, it echoed in every corner. In the way Rachel folded blankets without being asked. In the way she paused before touching the doorknob to our bedroom. In the way she avoided the guest room entirely. She was unraveling. And I didn't stop it. I let her. That second night, I found her sitting by the lake alone, arms wrapped around her knees like a kid lost at camp. The stars were out, moonful. You'd think it was romantic if you didn't know the truth underneath it all. She didn't hear me come out. She was talking to herself. No more lies, no more lies. When I stepped on a twig, she jumped like she'd seen a ghost. I didn't say anything, just sat beside her on the cold wooden bench. She didn't look at me, just stared out at the water. Do you hate me? She asked, voice barely a whisper. I exhaled. Slow. Heavy. I don't know, I said. I think I hate who you became. And I miss who you were. She nodded. No defense. No denial. I thought I could fix it, she said. That if I acted normal long enough it would erase what I did. But every room in that house reminds me. Every song. Every smell. Every corner. I stayed quiet. And the worst part, she added, voice breaking, is that he's gone. Jason. He cut me off the second things got messy. Lost his job, his clients, everything. He told me I ruined his life. That got my attention. You still talk to him? No, she said quickly. Not since the day everything blew up. But before he blocked me, he sent this long message. Said I was selfish. Said I used him. That I made promises I couldn't keep. She turned to me now for real. But I never made him promises, you know? I never said I'd leave you. I just wanted to feel something again. And he gave that to me. I looked at her. Really looked. Rachel wasn't the woman who had cheated. She was the woman who stayed after it all, hoping to outrun her own reflection. I gave you everything, I said. Even after Mia left for school. Even when things got quiet between us. I was still there. You weren't alone. I know, she said, tears falling. That's what kills me. We sat like that for a long time. I don't know if it was 5 minutes or 50. Then she said the thing I didn't expect. I'll leave if you want. I'll move out when we get back. You don't have to keep pretending. I studied her face. Pale, tired, older than I remembered, but honest for once. The mask was gone. And here's the truth. I didn't want her to leave. Not yet. Because forgiveness isn't something you give right away. It's something earned slowly, brick by brick. And sometimes the best punishment is forcing someone to live with what they've done, next to the person they did it to. Go to bed, I told her. I'll be in later. She nodded, wiped her face, and disappeared into the shadows of the cabin. I stayed by the lake a little longer, listening to the frogs, the wind, the creak of the dock. I didn't feel peace. Not yet. But I did feel power. And after so long feeling invisible, that was something. We drove back from the lake house in silence. Not angry silence. Not cold. Just still. Rachel stared out the window most of the ride home, twisting her wedding ring around her finger like it might unlock something. I kept my hands on the wheel and my thoughts behind my teeth. By the time we pulled into the driveway, it felt like we were strangers returning to a life that didn't quite belong to either of us anymore. She unpacked the bags. I took out the trash. Normal things. Routine things. But everything had changed. Over the next few weeks, Rachel tiptoed around the house like a guest. Cooked dinner. Folded my laundry. Left small, quiet offerings of regret everywhere. I didn't stop her. But I didn't welcome it either. One day, I found her standing in front of that anniversary photo in the hallway, the one I'd swapped out before sending the original to her parents. She was just staring at it. Jason was cropped out now. It was just her, smiling. Alone. You changed it, she said quietly. I nodded. Yeah. Thought it fit the moment better. She swallowed hard. Are you ever going to forgive me? I leaned against the doorframe. I don't know. She looked at the photo again. I miss the way you used to look at me. I thought about that for a long moment. I miss the person I used to look at, I said. There was no anger in my voice. Just truth. And sometimes that's worse than yelling. From that day on, something shifted in her. She stopped trying to make up for it. Stopped acting like she could beg her way back into good graces. Instead, she started owning it quietly, fully. She took a job offer out of town 3 months later. Said it was a clean start. Somewhere to rebuild. She didn't ask me to wait. I didn't offer to follow. The day she moved out, she left her key on the counter and kissed my forehead on her way out the door. Same way she used to. Except this time, there wasn't a lie behind it. Just a memory. We didn't cry. We didn't fight. We just ended. And the house? It got quieter. But not lonelier. I started sleeping better. Eating better. Laughing at stupid shows again. And every once in a while, I still check her old phone when I find it in the junk drawer. Just out of habit. Nothing's there. It's been wiped clean. But it's not about finding anything. It's about remembering the lesson. Because love doesn't die in explosions. It dies in whispers. In cold showers. In unspoken names at 3:17 a.m. In covered wedding rings. And you never forget the day you stopped being a husband and started being a ghost in your own home. But you also never forget the day you came back to life. I'm not bitter. Not anymore. Just wiser. And next time, I'll know what not to ignore.